Hi everyone. I wasn't necessarily planning on filming today, but I got my M Cosmetics order in the mail, and I really wanted to film about it so that if anyone wanted to figure out if they wanted it or not, because M Cosmetics is pretty expensive, then you can use my video to decide, because this is a limited edition collection, so I don't want anyone to feel like they have to buy in if they don't necessarily like what is being sold. So I thought I would quickly make a video where I make a makeup look where I use these products. So for those who don't know, M Cosmetics released a new kind of garden collection, and the packaging for them, they have little cherubs on them, really cute. But as you can see, there's two new shades of the powder blush formula. So this here is Persimmon, then there's a pink one named Cherub. I am not a big fan of her liquid blushes at all, and I don't seem to be someone who really makes good use of cream blushes either. Cream contour is fine, but I have yet to find a cream blush that didn't like disappear on my face, which is weird. But I do really like her powder blush formula, aside from Faded Clementine, which was just too bronzy for me, so I sold it. But I really like the other one that I have Magic Hour, I have Venetian Rose. I do kind of want one of the Divine Neutrals one, the lighter one. And so when these came out, I was like, initially I was going to get something from the Pat McGrath Bridgerton collab, but I used that money to get these instead, since these are limited edition and I knew I'd really like them. I'm sad because the lipsticks were really cute, but whatever. I'm going to start off with the REPHR Moisturizer. It's this product right here, this big old tube. I only paid a couple bucks for this plus shipping, because you can do that in exchange for kind of your review. I actually so far really like this under my makeup. It feels really nice and smooth. It's not very, like, it doesn't really like set down very heavily. It doesn't feel like a super heavy cream, so I think a lot of different skin types can really enjoy this. For me personally, I really like using it under my primer, so it's kind of like a pre-primer situation. Definitely an under makeup moisturizer for me. It feels really nice. It has no fragrance, and I mean, this tube is giant. So I definitely have been really enjoying this recently. I don't feel like it does anything like a primer would, and of course it wasn't advertised as a primer, it's a moisturizer, but I currently use it under my makeup. So I'm gonna go in over top of that with the Pat McGrath primer. I haven't used this in a while, but once it hits spring and summer, this definitely gets busted out way more often, so that it kind of smooths out my pores and makes my T-zone not like super oily without drying it out. And you can see my skin is seen better days. I think the rapid change in temperature, or maybe just like stress or something, has made my skin just suddenly turn very angry. But for foundation, I've been really liking mixing a foundation with a concealer. So I'm going to take my Estee Lauder Futurist Aqua Brilliance, and I've been mixing it with my Luna concealer. So this is in the shade 1N0, the lightest shade they have. And I actually really like mixing these because some of my foundations have become slightly too dark as of late, whether because they're old and so the formula darkened, or whether because I got these when I was more tan. I'm not sure. So rather than buying a whole bunch of new foundations, because I was trying to figure out which foundations I want to add to my Sephora cart for the sale, but besides the Givenchy matte one, I really don't actually have any foundations that really caught my eye. So I've just been thinking, well, it's more economical for me to just go ahead and mix them two together. So you can see on my hand, the concealer and the foundation, this one's slightly lighter, so by mixing them I can kind of adjust the color to be what I like. And on top of that, the concealer is a bit more matte. It's going to kind of tamp down the dewiness of this foundation, and I've just not really been into ultra dewy lately. I don't know if it's because I'm getting influenced by trends, or if it's just because I'm just kind of tired of it and I just wanted something new, or because I just really am into full coverage because my skin keeps on getting mad at me. But I've just been preferring the matte full coverage look. And then whatever is left on my hand, I'll just kind of add more coverage where I think I need it. And then I'm just going to go in with my concealer, which I'm using my normal preferred concealer of choice. I tried using the KVD foundation as concealer, but somehow the process of putting it on with a brush kind of disturbed the foundation below. Like, it kind of caused my foundation below to kind of become patchy. I'm not so sure what about that foundation caused that, but maybe that foundation just doesn't really like being layered like that. Okay, so you can kind of see I mostly covered them. It's good enough. Yeah, my skin's not doing super well today, so I'm not gonna try and pile on the product more than necessary. The Cosmetics formulation, it's baked and it is pretty powdery. Like, you'll get a lot of kick up in the pan, so I don't want to set my base too much or else it'll kind of not stick, for lack of a better word. So I'm going to set my under eyes with the Pat McGrath under eye setting powder. It's a pretty nice powder. I do really like it. I'm trying to remember to use this more often. Like, I do feel like this powder has a really good blurring effect. So, and I know it's an under eye setting powder, but I do like using it on like the center of my face. And then for the rest of the face, I'm just going to use a very light dusting of my Kogendo moisture powder. I'm just going to use this. It doesn't really set things down too matte, and so if I just lightly sweep this across my face, it will set my makeup, but it'll still leave behind enough of kind of a glow and some tackiness for the blush. Okay, so that's going to be that for the base. I didn't set it too much. I'm going to do my eyebrows. I'm not going to put on any eye primer today since the eyeshadow is going to be super minimal. I'm just using the blush as eyeshadow today. So I'm just going to fill in my eyebrows really fast with the Morphe micro brow pencil. I'm just trying to finish it. And I'm just kind of adding some length. I don't want to add too much thickness. Okay, so you can see I barely filled in the front and I really only filled in the back for the length. I'm really trying to practice getting better at my brow game, and I've really been liking this look lately, practicing this look where I really only fill in the backs as much and the fronts is just kind of smudged out. So I'm gonna take the Brow Blade ink stain. My hands are a little shaky today. I woke up really early for some reason, so I'm kind of tired. Looking pretty good, all things considered. Alright, so with the brows on, let's go ahead and get into these blushes. I have the Persimmon and Cherub. They both, I think, are $34 each or something like that. Very high price. It's up there with Pat McGrath. Her blushes are $38. Very expensive. And because these are limited edition, there's a lot of hype. It's her first ever limited collection. I know a lot of people are kind of really freaking out over whether they should get it or whether they should let it sell out. What should they do? They're feeling FOMO. So I definitely want to help you guys out. Don't make a rash decision. Please don't go impulse buying these two just because they're limited. I absolutely don't want you guys losing out on your coin like that. So I'm going to use these on my eyes and cheeks. We're going to see how they look. I'm going to tell you guys what I think about it, particularly Persimmon. I'm very interested in how that's going to perform. So I'm going to go into Persimmon and we're going to start working on the eyes. I fully expect these to perform as well as they cost, or else I'm going to be highly disappointed. But just so you guys know, I've never really had a problem with Cosmetics blush formula not performing well on me. The only reason I didn't like Faded Clementine was really just because of the shade. I'm not really into the super bronzy blushes. So I'm just putting that on the eyes. You can see it's got that really pretty kind of shimmer to it. Again, these are baked with a little bit of shimmer and sparkle in them. These are not matte. None of her baked blushes are matte. So I'm just putting this on the inner part, and now I'm going to put the pink on the outer part. So we're going to create this really pretty, just springy, vibrant look. It definitely does not look the same as like the Dior pink or the Persona Bubble or the Kaleidos pink that I showed at one point earlier. Not as saturated as those. However, it is similarly light and airy. As you can see here, it's not really adding any depth, it's just another color. So this would definitely be a really pretty, barely there eyeshadow with a beautifully subtle shimmer finish. I'm gonna put Cherub on my lower lash line as well. And that's gonna just be that for the eyeshadow. As I said before, so simple, very pretty. I am gonna embellish it just a little bit though, but I think I'm alright to just leave this be without any additional depth. So what I'm gonna do instead is I do want a little bit of sparkly workly. I'm gonna take the JACLYN Cosmetics Shimmer Top Coat in Glassy. It's got this rosy tone to it, so I think this will go really well with the colors. As I've mentioned before, this is a very interesting formula because it swatches really well on the finger, but then when you actually go and put it on your eyelid, a lot of it just kind of stays on your finger. But if you don't mind, it does still give off a really pretty toppery finish, so I personally really dig these. So I'm just kind of throwing it on the middle there like that. I don't really need it to be super intense because I still do want the bottom layer to show through. I definitely am interested in other cream shadows that are a little bit more pigmented, like the Hourglass ones, Charlotte Tilbury and Victoria Beckham. Totally interested, but those are so expensive, so not yet. And then I'm just gonna put this on my lower lash line too, just for the kind of the definition there. A little bit of sparkle on the lower lash line. This doesn't pick up super well with a brush, but if you're patient, you can get it. Okay, so as you can see, I put it on the upper and lower lash lines. I didn't put on very much, so it just has a subtle twinkling effect, which I really like, and I do want an inner corner highlight. So I'm going to take this VDL FABER Castell Stick Shadow, this one right here, really pretty, and I'm going to use this. This is in the shade 01. I'm just going to kind of pop it right in the inner corner. It's slightly orange, so it'll really go well with this look as well. And VDL always does make pretty high quality products, so I personally really like this one a lot. And that just adds a little bit of shine. And then for the lashes, I do want to keep things pretty simple. This is the Big Cat Energy from Doe. I had another pair that I was using, and these are limited edition, so I really hate opening new ones, but I don't know what happened to them. I wore them to my parents' house, and when I took them off, I put them on the counter downstairs, and then when I came downstairs the next morning, because I forgot to put them away, there was only one left. So presumably it's in cat toy purgatory and I'll never see it again. But I'm just gonna open up this brand new box and pop these on. Rest in peace, Big Cat Energy, you will be sorely missed. But I'll just pop open this new pair. Okay, it took me 2 tries to get this eye, but I think it's finally on. I hope it doesn't pop off again. So as you can see, they're extremely wispy and thin, hardly impedes with the eyeshadow, and also it really helps to open up my eyes by quite a bit. Yeah, I really like how they look, so I think this look could use a little bit of eyeliner. So I'm just going to take a liquid brown liner and draw some wings. I'm using one that you can't actually get anymore, that's why I'm not telling you what it is. Impossible to find, and I'm sad. Benefit did just recently release, literally the same day I'm filming, Benefit released their brush tip liner. I really wanted to use the roller liner, but it was a felt tip, which is why I ended up giving it to my sister. But they have a new one that they specifically said is brush tip. I'm really interested to try it. I probably won't pick it up anytime soon, but once this one kicks the can, I'm gonna pick up the brown one. It looks like a really nice shade of brown. Okay, so I just drew on the wings there. They're not super short, but they're not super long either. I think they are fine. Longer wings, and the eyeliner technique that Michelle Phan likes to do a lot just simply doesn't work if you have monolids, because like it doesn't show up. So this is always what I end up doing, and I think it's fine. And then of course I do need a little bit of lower lash mascara, and I'm just gonna use this brown one from Clinique. It is a high impact mascara. I honestly think this mascara sucks, but it is brown. I do like the color of the new Charlotte Tilbury one, but I'm not paying that much for mascara, so I never buy mascaras full price. I really just hate to. It has aged a little bit better, but it still really does nothing like high impact. But that's going to be the eyes complete. So as you can see, a really subtle eyeshadow look, complete with some liner and lashes, really just kind of completes it. So I'm going to put these on my face. And I'm thinking I'm going to kind of do a similar structure. So I'm going to put Cherub kind of all over, and then I'm going to use the Persimmon on the inner part of my face and kind of the point shade, because I do really want to see what Persimmon looks like. So I'm taking Cherub and I'm just going to put that on the outer part of my face, particularly on my cheekbone, because I know the glow will come through. So as you can see, this is very subtle. If you are thinking that this is gonna be similar to like that Dior pink blush, I don't think at all, so then you can skip it. Definitely don't buy this thinking you're gonna get a ton of pigmentation. As you can see though, the glow is beautiful. This kind of has, it feels more like a silvery glow running through it, which is definitely really unique, because a lot of glowy pink blushes have more of a gold or peach sheen running through it, and this feels a lot more silver. I think you can kind of see that. So this definitely is a unique blush to my collection personally. I don't have a blush quite like this, so I'm very happy to have it, but it's not gonna be super pigmented. But alternatively, if you're the kind of person who just throws on makeup, 5-minute makeup every single day, and you want a blush you can put on every single day that lets you skip highlighter, that you can't put on too much of, and that just makes your skin look beautiful like this, I think you would really like Cherub. You can see me building it, and I'm just using a BH Cosmetics synthetic brush. I'm not using any expensive brushes, so you can see how this performs using more affordable brushes. Looking close, I don't feel like it's really showing any more texture than I already have. It doesn't hide texture in the glow part because, I mean, glowy products usually don't blur, like those two things don't usually go together. It's still really pretty. It's not showing off my texture anywhere near like what the powder highlighters tended to do, and so I don't like those. But that's why I like these a lot. I feel like these are just her best flagship formula, and I'm glad that she seems to be aware of that, so she's making more shades. But then of course she goes and makes them limited edition. So yeah, that's what Cherub looks like. Super pretty. This is the ultimate 5-minute makeup can't make a mistake blush. This is not as pigmented or as bright as I was expecting. Her promo photos definitely must have amped up the saturation or something. I still really like this. Alright, and now I'm gonna go in with just a Luxie powder brush. So again, I'm just sticking with synthetic, and we're gonna use Persimmon now. Very interested in seeing how this looks. And a lot of people were really freaking out over this because this seemed to be a yellow toned orange. Definitely not an orange we see often. Still waiting for a true yellow blush. So I'm just gonna put this right in the middle of my cheeks, kind of give that watercolor effect. And on the cheeks you can see the yellow kind of blossoming beneath the orange. I think a lot of you guys are definitely going to really prefer to get Persimmon because it's going to be a really unique color you guys probably don't have yet. Although I don't necessarily really like putting these blushes on the inner part of my face because they kind of emphasize my pores towards the inner part of my face. Kind of see as I turn my face. But this is such a pretty shade. I really hope I can find this in like a true matte formula. This is a lot more pigmented, so you can definitely overdo this one, whether you choose to or whether you do so on accident. Okay, I like this way more than I like Cherub. For people who are blush addicts like me, you're gonna really enjoy having Persimmon in your collection. This is a color like no other. However, personally, I do feel like this kind of color tends to look more flattering when it's matte, not glowy. So my hunt for yellow, orange, and yellow blushes that are matte shall continue. But in the meantime, here's what it looks like on the skin. And I love how this looked on my eyes too. I'm gonna put on a little bit more Cherub, see if I can build it up a little bit more. Definitely does not look on the face the same as it does in the pan. So I would say for Cherub, definitely just kind of keep your expectations realistic on how that shade performs. I don't want anyone to be disappointed. It is really pretty though, like it has a time and a place. I definitely can appreciate it. But it's like the more I put on, it's just the more glowier my face gets, which is pretty funny. But yeah, that's what that looks like. So that is going to be these two blushes on my face. They both performed fine, like they both applied really well. And then just to do some quick comparisons with Cherub, because I know her photos can make things look either really similar or really different. And so I just want to show you guys that Cherub is definitely not like the other pink blushes that she's released. So here is Cherub with Magic Hour. Magic Hour has a very significant orange undertone and orange sheen to it when you put it on. I really like Magic Hour personally. And then I don't have Faded Clementine anymore, so I can't compare it to Persimmon, but I can promise you guys they are very different just based on my memories of Faded Clementine. Literally promise they're not the same at all. And then here's Venetian Rose. You can see Venetian Rose in the context of the colored pans. They look similar, but Venetian Rose is darker and a lot more toned down. But I think you can see here how color theory can mess up your perception of color and make Venetian Rose and Cherub look the same, but they're not. So here on my finger are Cherub is on this finger and Venetian Rose is on this finger. And I think you can see here now against my finger and on with the background of my palm, you can see how different those colors are. I also wipe my fingers off on a white paper towel, and here is Cherub and here is Venetian Rose. So again, especially on the white, the differences really come through. So yeah, that's gonna be those two blushes. I'm just gonna throw on a quick lip, and then I'm gonna call this makeup look complete. I'm just gonna line with BUXOM Incognito. You can't get it anymore, sadly, but it is really nice. And then I'm just going to use Magic Hour, the True Gloss, to finish everything off. Why not just use more M products? Kind of on the fence about True Gloss. I used to really like it, but ever since this was like, you know, 1.5 years ago, I thought I really liked them, but I've discovered many more glossy formulas since then that I like more, and these don't really fit the bill. I'm going to use Magic Hour today. This is a pretty light shade, and I'm just not really into saturated light glosses. I feel like they make me look dead. I don't know, this formula used to be something I really liked, but that was literally when the only gloss I owned was True Gloss, and I think since then I've really discovered what my preferences are, which is kind of more that Korean watery kind of gloss, or like the super juicy glosses. These are a little bit more thin. I don't really feel like I like these like I used to anymore. And my eyelash is popping off, but we'll ignore that. I look like a bit of a clown, not gonna lie. This isn't like the most cohesive, beautiful look I've ever done, but that's okay. I mostly was doing this to show you guys what the blushes looked like. This gloss choice is probably what is making me look so strange right now. This just makes me look so washed out, so I don't think I'm gonna hold on to this, I'm sorry. But yeah, I love these two blushes. I definitely don't regret spending my money on these, and I'm really glad that I have these in my collection. So no FOMO here, and no regrets about falling for the FOMO here, because I do really like her powder blush formula. It's one of my favorites. That's what this looks like. Super simple. I think Cherub is definitely going to be for people who just want a do-it-all blush shade, like you just need to be out the door. And it also can just be a throw on the eyelid kind of eyeshadow. It does the shimmer and it does the shimmer for you. Persimmon is definitely more of an out there shade, but it's very unique, so I'm really glad I have this. I do not have a shade like this in my collection anywhere. In fact, I've been looking for one like this, but matte, so my hunt continues, but I'm glad I have this. And yeah, I hope this video helped you guys. I hope you guys found this to be informative. If you have any more questions about these blushes, please do let me know in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer. Obviously, these are very, very expensive, but truthfully, they are a very unique formula. Persimmon in particular is a very unique color, so I think if you got them, you'd enjoy them. I'm not going to recommend anyone go out and buy them just because I don't like recommending expensive products to people, but if it's in your budget, if you've been thinking about it and this kind of helped you be like, okay, I'm confident in my decision to buy it, then I do think you're going to enjoy it. So that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!